Okay. Okay, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Development Permit Panel for April the 14th, 2021. And I'm going to introduce the panel first off. We've got Cecilia Asham, our General Manager of Community Safety, on the panel today. We also have Milton Chan, our Director of, I think I'm hearing a bit of noise there somewhere, our Director of Engineering. And I'm Joe Wersag. I'm the General Manager of Planning and Development. I think the first, well, actually, before we get to the minutes, for each item, we're going to hear the order of or sequence of events will be, we'll hear a presentation from the applicant and the applicant's design team. We'll then hear from city staff with their comments. We will then open it up for any members of the public that want to address the panel on the project. And we will also deal with written correspondence. And for staff and for the applicants, the panel may have questions as we go through your presentation or when you make your comments. So with that, the first thing to do is to adopt some minutes of the previous meeting, March 24. Are there any additions or omissions or errors? Okay, we'll consider them adopted. So the first development item is, it's a development permit, reference number 17-792-931. The applicant is Urban Era Builders and Developers Limited, and the property location is 9720 and 9800 Williams Road. And this development permit is to allow 18 townhouses on the site, including, I think, 3 affordable housing units. So who's the applicant for this one?
That's me, Urban Era Builders and Developers.
Okay. I'm having trouble tracking. Is that Mr. Hassan?
That's Khalid Hassan, yep.
Okay, all right, Khalid. I can't see you. Are you on a, do you have a video link or just?
I do, okay, sorry. I thought, okay, start video. I think it's working now, yeah.
There we go, there we go. It was worth it. All right, what would you like to tell us about this, this project?
So this project is, it took us a while to kind of put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Providing 3 affordable housing rental units, which we agreed on with the city. I think this is one of the initial pilot project that we did.
Yeah, yeah.
Affordable housing, and it's a combination of 3 levels and 2-level units. On the back side, to close to the single-family homes, we have proposed 2-story units with the generous backyards, and on the front facing Williams Road and towards the public walkway, we have 3-story units. And the rest, my design team is here, Eric Law, architects, and landscape architect, Mr. Donald, and they will add light on the project.
Terrific, thank you. Okay, Mr. Law.
Yes, hi, my name is Eric Law. I'm the architect for this project. So I'm going to do a short presentation of what we're proposing. And then the landscape architect, Donald, will be presenting the landscape portion of the design. Mm-hmm. So I guess I will have to use a share screen to do the presentation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So does everybody see the image?
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh,
at least I can.
That's good, that's good. So what we're proposing, so let me show you the context, what it is right now. Basically, it is a site with 3 lots, and the surrounding context is basically all single family house or duplex. As you can see along the opposite side of the street, along Williams, there are single family house, 2-story, mostly 2-story, houses, and at the back are also single-family house with their own residential single-family house residential context characteristics. So that's where we start the design of this project. The concept is that we will do a internal drive aisle with 3-story townhouses along Williams, and then 2-story townhouse at the back, so that you respect the single-family house on the south side, and also the duplex on the east side. Along the west side, there will be a 3-story townhouse project actually under the development permit has been approved, and they are starting to build a 3-story townhouse along on the west side already. So that's where we start the context and the site planning. What we're proposing is that we will have a central internal drive aisle along within our site, access directly from Williams, going along internal drive aisle, and this will extend in the future. That will extend further to serve the east development. We have a registered right of way for them to develop in case that in the future they need that. And in terms of the overall concept is that because of this 3-story high is facing Williams, we have lower height along the south side. Light can go, basically allow light to penetrate through into the internal space, and the amenity space will be within this space, which is direct access to can easily access to the public sidewalk along this side. And with that in mind of this concept is that this townhouse is basically using the language of the single-family house or residential characteristic, so that it can blend into the surrounding area. And with the finishes is basically using the traditional brick along the base, heavy, a little bit heavy base with lighter color on top of it, with pitch roof, varying pitch roof, and decorative bracket, so that you create a residential characteristic to merge or to be consistent with the context. And these are the image along this is along the Williams, and this is along the sidewalk, public sidewalk along the north-south direction. This is a Williams, and you can see that it stepped down in terms of the overall building to respect to this south side single-family house. So in terms of the overall site plan is like that, and we have the outdoor amenity space over here, and the landscape architect will be going to talk about the landscape design along for this amenity space later. And we have 3 units, these 3 units, which will be dedicated as a rental use only. And this will be, there will be 3 rental unit for this overall townhouse project. And this townhouse, this residential rental townhouses design will be similar to the rest of the townhouse, so that the rent, even is a rental, but the outlook, the look of the building will be the same as the surrounding, similar to the other townhouse units. So this is the second floor, which is mostly the we put the parking on the ground level, living and dining room on the second level, and the back will be stepped down with roof only. The front will be only 3-story high. And now I will ask Donald to do the presentation on the landscape design of them.
Thank you very much, Eric. Members of the panel, good afternoon. My name is Donald Duncan. I'm landscape architect on this particular project. As Eric has mentioned, we have an amenity area, which is central to the project. And this really, in some ways, consists not only of the play area, a seating area, but also includes that area of pervious paving, which is beyond in the drive aisle, which serves not only as an indication of the intersection to drivers, but also provides a friendlier backdrop and a larger patio space, if you will, to the residents, particularly if they're planning special events. The amenity space itself contains the community mailbox. It contains seating and bicycle parking, and of course, play opportunities for the children. So this allows them to, hopefully this provides a community gathering space, which is friendly and welcoming. There are plantings, of course, surrounding this, as well as access to the adjacent public walkway. That interface along the public walkway is characterized by gated entries leading into the various units. Again, we're using pervious pavers there. The plantings along there will be fairly formal hedges with a lovely rhododendron at the entry to each one. The gardens are a little bit snug, but we've done some wonderful things with varied and colorful plant materials to give the, yeah, it's always a challenge finding the planting plant. There we go. Thank you, Eric. Providing hopefully a snug and colorful garden, which each resident can call their own. Likewise, along the frontage of the project, we have gardens which are, again, fairly formal in character. Yeah, if we just move up a little, yeah, there we go. So the slightly more generous yards along the frontage there. And again, these are defined not only from the public realm, but divided one from the next by plantings of yew and a variety of plant material very strongly featured in this rhododendron and azalea, but we also have black-eyed Susan and iris and things to provide color at different times of the year. As you can see, there's a reasonable amount of trees provided. We have made an effort to keep the size of the species down so that we don't overpower the residents in the long term. And in the interior drive aisle, in addition to that central area of pervious paving, which I indicated earlier, we also, you'll note, have those walkways that extend on either side of the drive aisle to provide a more friendly interface with the garages, but also a place where pedestrians might feel inclined to walk out of the general path of travel of the vehicles. I think that's probably enough verbiage from me, unless the members of the panel have specific questions.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your presentations. Let's see if the panel has questions. Cecilia, Milton?
A very small question. Is it gated, the walkway beside the play area that goes into the public walkway to the west of the property? So at night it can be closed off?
It is gated, and it can be provided with a lock, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Just one question for me on the public sidewalk, the west. Is there lighting for that? Is it the overhead lighting or bollard lighting?
I'm not certain about what we're doing. What's there in terms of lighting at the moment, or what's planned?
Through the chair to Mr. Chan, I'll take that one. Lighting will be installed through the servicing agreement, which is associated with this project. So the project on the west side of the walkway is responsible for pavement improvements. This project is responsible for lighting improvements to that walkway.
Oh, so we haven't told them what sort of lighting we'll be requiring, huh?
That's correct. It'll be detailed through the servicing agreement in consultation with engineering and parks.
Okay, all right. And Wayne, while you're at it, the vehicle access, the rights of passage are for the properties to the east, but given the walkway, the one to the west is separate. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions?
Just one final question on the trees that are on the adjacent property. Are you doing anything, or what are you doing to make sure that you don't disturb them?
Well, we will, of course, be putting up appropriate barriers during construction. Now, clearly, there is some construction which would occur within those barriers towards the end. And, excuse me, and for any such construction, we would, of course, have the arborist on site to oversee the work and watch out for disturbance of root mass.
And the grading?
There you go.
There is some retention that's going to be required that will sit at the property line. We're going to have to look at the use of a lot of gravel to ensure that we have good gas exchange, and also the design of the wall will be such that we will be spreading the loads so that we don't have point loads on specific root, particularly bearing roots of the adjacent trees.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you for your presentation. Stick around, and we're going to hear from Mr. Craig.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few staff comments, if I may. The 3 affordable rental townhouse units, they will be subject to a housing agreement to ensure the tenant eligibility and rental requirements in keeping with the city's affordable housing strategy. There are 2 convertible units included with this proposal as well. As referenced, there will be a servicing agreement for site servicing, frontage works along Williams Road, and improvements to the walkway along the western edge of the site.
Okay.
There were also, I will note, revised development permit considerations distributed on table to the panel. Those revised development permit considerations are simply a clarification related to the driveway cross access agreement that will provide access to the east, indicating that wayfinding signage will be part of that right-of-way agreement.
Right. So what does that mean? What does wayfinding signage mean?
So as you may recall from the site plan, the driveway will serve future development to the east. That development will be required to enter through the site and then make a right or a left-hand turn. So there will be signage posted at the driveway entry, providing for the address of that future development site to the west. There will then be wayfinding signage at that bend to indicate turn left here to access.
Oh, okay, yeah. And hopefully the presence of the signage will help avoid having residents of this complex, if built, resist access through the complex.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the wayfinding signage won't be able to be installed until the future development actually occurs and we're able to install an address. Having said that, there will be signage posted at the end of the drive aisle to indicate that it will be used for access to the property.
A shared driveway, yeah. Okay, great. Any questions from the panel for Mr. Craig? No? Okay. Now, Wayne, we'll open it up. I'll open it up for members of the public. Do we have a member of the public present that wants to speak to this item?
I do not believe we have a member of the public present for this item. I believe there is a member of the public present for item number 2. We have received, yes.
Okay.
We have received 2 pieces of written correspondence in relationship to this. The first piece of correspondence is from Earl Luck and Queenie Law, the owners of 10031 number 4 road. Their submission relates to future development potential of their site and whether there would be shared driveway access provided through this development, as well as additional questions regarding mailbox locations, ramps, wayfinding signage, etc. As
Okay.
indicated, that access agreement is secured as part of this. Wayfinding signage is included. Staff
Yeah.
have responded to the inquirer confirming such.
And presumably all of this access and development is consistent with the policies for this section of Williams.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay,
The
good.
next piece of correspondence is from King Luck, the owner of 9840. Same questions as the previous written submission. Written response has also been provided to that.
Yeah, okay, that's great, thank you. Okay, so that brings us to panel deliberation. I'm going to just ask whether there's someone to move the mover and a seconder for the staff recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Okay, any comments that you would like to make?
No, it's a pretty straightforward. I do appreciate the 3 rental units.
Yeah.
That's really good to see.
Oh yeah, and you reminded me. I do have a question, Wayne. You've told me before, and I've forgotten. These are full Lima units, not just market rental units. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's I think particularly impressive. Yeah. Okay. So and I just echo what Cecilia said. I think it's a well-designed little project. I'm happy to support it. So I'm going to call the question. All those in favour? Opposed? So it's carried. Thank you for your project. And I just like to say once again, I do think, even though there was a bit of a delay, this was one of the early projects to tackle providing the low-end market rental units, for this scale of development. And thank you for that. And it's good to see it come forward.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
So I don't know whether you folks want to exit or stick around. We can continue, Wayne. Is that right?
Yes, and the architect and the landscape architect are the same for project number 3, as is the developers.
Oh, okay. So they're going to stay. Okay. I'm not trying to kick you out. Okay. Let's move on to the next development. It's a development permit, reference 17-794168. Yuan Hang Seaview Developments is the applicant, and it's property in the vicinity of number 3 Road and Corvette Way. And the purpose of this development permit is to allow for the construction of a mixed-use development. It includes residential units, an office tower, commercial units, and a city-owned community centre. And Wayne, I'm just looking, are there any variances with this one, or is it all good? I think this one's fine, no variances.
No variances, that is correct.
Okay, so, who's going to present this one? I can see Wing Liang in the background there.
We will present. Can you hear us?
We
Yes,
can.
we can.
Yeah, yeah.
You can hear. Okay.
Yes. It's not the loudest, Wing, but we can hear you.
Not the loudest.
Yeah.
Maybe
If you
I'll
want
get
to amp it
closer.
up a little bit, that would be appreciated.
I'll come closer. Is this better?
Yeah, it is.
I think they're frozen.
Uh-oh.
Of number 3 Road, Sea Island Way.
Wing,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. You froze out for a period there, and we couldn't hear any of your presentation.
Can you hear now?
We can, yeah.
Okay. We'll share a screen on the plan.
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Can you hear?
Yes,
Okay.
there we go.
The two sites that we're talking today is Lot B and C. So we start off with Lot B, which is at the corner of number 3 Road and Sea Island Way, the new McMinn Drive and Corvette Way. And so this is a prominent site, gateway site to city center of Richmond, downtown. So to the west of us would be the Wall Center Hotel and the 2 residential towers. To the south of us, across McMinn Way, is Lot A, which was the first phase of this development, which comprised of 6 residential buildings and some commercial on the lower floor. To the east of us would be the new Capstan Station for the SkyTrain station, right at number 3 Road and Capstan and across from McMinn Drive. And to the east of that would be Concord Pacific and Pinnacle's development with a public open space park directly across from Lot B. And on the lower diagram, you see the volumetrics that we have for Lot B and Lot C. So very quickly, we'll show you a video of the model and some photos of the models. Please bear with us. We'll go to that presentation now.
Sure.
Okay. So this is a view for McMinn on the bottom of the page and number 3 rows to your right. This is the corner building where on the right we call Tower G, residential. On the left would be Tower F, residential. And in front along McMinn Way would be the future City Center Community Center, comprising of various spaces as well as an indoor basketball court gymnasium. And moving along, more photos. There's a plaza at the corner of number 3 Road and McMinn, which opens onto the community center. The community center curved section at the lobby that you see would be now walls that opens up directly from the plaza into the community center as well. Moving west, this would be the new pocket park at the corner of McMinn and Corvette Way, also part of the entrance to the residential tower F. This is a more aerial view that shows the podium between the 2 residential towers over the community center and part of the parkade. The parking garage is essentially wrapped by buildings all around. So it's a bit like a donut. And then we're going 2 levels of underground parking in here. And this is another aerial view at the southeast corner. And you can see part of the public realm on number 3 Road. In the background is the new office building that we're proposing. And this is a view directly on number 3 Road. And I guess this is a view that most people, maybe not even on the SkyTrain, will see it, but that's the roof patio over the podium. Next photo. This will be a prominent corner. This is a view that one will see on Sea Island Way, heading west and waiting for the right-hand or left-hand turn onto number 3 Road. This is at the corner of number 3 and Sea Island Way. And this is a prominent corner where this will be the future office building. You'll see on your right side there, that is the bottom part of the podium of the parking garage that is seen on Sea Island Way. That, we can describe the architectural feature in that a little bit later. This will be the next photo would be the Corvette Way. This is at Corvette, and on your left would be Sea Island, and we're right on Corvette as we're turning into the Corvette Way, where heading towards Wall Center Hotel. So this is a view across from Sea Island Way, and the aluminum concave curvilinear panel that clads the light bronze color that clads the parking garage with some perforated panels. So this is another view back to the area wheel at the southeast corner of Lot B. These are just a quick video as you go around the model. So this is the number 3 road in Sea Island.
Lobby is set back.
The lobby is set back.
Right.
And this is the view on Sea Island.
And Wayne, can you point out where the garage entrance is when you
Garage
get there?
entrance is on McMinn. So as you come around here, you'll see the garage entrance right between the gap where the cursor on the screen is. That's the parking garage entrance. That's the entrance to the whole parking garage, including loading.
This is very handy for understanding this site.
With 2 levels below grade and 3 levels above,
Yes.
which is community center and commercial parking.
We're not professional video photographers, so it's not quite orthogonal.
No, it's good. It did the trick for me.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll turn to the ground floor site plan. And okay. So heading from the top right-hand corner, that's number 3 road and Sea Island Way. You'll see that the columns are exposed as on the model, and it's a recessed lobby entrance to the office building. And then the funnel shape that leads to pedestrian entrance to the parking garage or exiting from the garage. The light blue color are the commercial or community center spaces. And so it's retail frontage on number 3 road with a proposal for a restaurant on the 2nd floor. Access also from the funnel that you can see as the restaurant entrance to the 2nd floor over the ground floor retail. Wrapping around on number 3 road on McMinn to the bottom right is the open plaza that you see with a proposal for a potential band stage at the corner of number 3 road and McMinn. We're working together with the community services as to location for public art opportunities in the plaza, as well as signage, informing the public as to activities that could be upcoming in the community center. The inside on the ground floor, as you can see on this plan here, is a double height lobby, entrance lobby to the community center with an open stair, inviting people to use the stair to go to the 2nd floor of the community center. The stair is very wide, it's 6 feet wide, and the elevator access and general functions within the community center. Of note is the high school size standard indoor basketball court. So it has multi-functional purposes, could be badminton, could be volleyball, and has a clear height that can be 35 feet clear. And then the normal change facilities and reception facilities. To the left of that was the area that we pointed to, where this is the entrance to the parking garage, and we have 2 lanes coming in and 1 lane going out. And and loading. So in that hatch area, you see it's a clear loading height. That means environmental services clearances and height for garbage removal and recycling. Entering the parking garage is standard 3-story above grade and 2-story below grade. And then the to the left of that would be our other residential tower entrance, and the little pocket park that you see along McMinn and wrapping around Corvette Way, and then to the north with the Sea Island Way. And the model that you saw earlier was the aluminum panel, light bronze aluminum panel, which is concave shape. There's an woven pattern, basket pattern with perforations to allow for ventilation. And so the concave nature, I don't know if you can see on the screen the panel curvatures there, but it gives
Yeah, we can, Wing.
so it gives some depth to it, so it's not a plane. On the south side, on back to the community center, as you can see in this proposal, there's a curvilinear nature to the corners in the scheme for both the office building, the residential towers, and the community center corner as well. So if you look at the treatment of the community center, there is what I call a swoop. It was something that I dreamt of one evening. It's an aluminum perforated panel, ombre panel, light bronze again. And it has the graphics that you see on there. It's just a representation. There will be developing that together with possibility of public art if it works. If not, then it would be could be a freestanding piece of work inside the lobby or on the plaza. But this is a good canvas to be able to work with public artists on. And the you see the red glazed panel, glass panel entrance portal to a double height community center lobby with well, this is, I like fire engine red, so that's why you see it. And the fire engine red glazed canopy that provides continuous weather protection for the community center. And it breaks at the entrance of the parking garage. The red bracket, the reverse shaped C bracket that you see around the building generally is a visual cue signal that that's the extent of the community center. And that is a painted steel channel with panels, and the fiber cement panel actually wraps around the base on the underside of the soffit so that it feels like a cantilever box that is tucked into the community center. So that the entrance to the parking garage, there's a signal that this is not just spray insulation and pipes that you see, but rather is a finished and welcoming gesture that this is the main entrance to the parking garage. From there, at least access to bicycle parking for patrons to the community center inside the parking garage. I didn't point that out in the site plan, but they're there. And the pocket park is to the left. So you'll see right coming in, right, that's where all the bicycle parking would be. And there's a pedestrian walkway that leads you out to the front, or there's a convenient access from the parking garage inside where you will see the entrance from the parking garage to the rear double door to the community center. So from there, this is a good visual surveillance point from the reception, main reception to the community center. That's the surveillance and checking on who's coming in and out of the community center as well. Moving quickly on to lot C. What I should also mention briefly is the materiality of the building. We use vertical pickets, light color, light gray vertical pickets for the balconies, so that the depth of the pickets will open and close as you move along the facade, and it gives another layer to the detailing of the homes. And you will see that the balconies, they extend, they continue, but some of them we stop so that there's a play in how it wraps and reveals the window wall treatment and the glazed panels. And for this lot B, it will be step coat number 3, and the whole project is triple glazed. And so the curtain wall for the community center will be unitized sections of triple glazed. And to the back on the office building, again, that would be unitized curtain wall where it would be triple glazed. And the horizontal sunscreens on the south side and wrap slightly around towards the east. And the vertical glaze aluminum fins at the corner, wrapping around to the north, that the undulating fins gives some depth and play to the office building. And around on Sea Island Way, you will see how that is a bit more closer in on center line, and it widens over as you go along Sea Island. So there's a play as one drives from the off ramp on Sea Island heading east. As you move along, you see that. But the bottom podium portion, the concave curvilinear aluminum panel, is really where a lot of attention has been given, so that that's front door to Richmond downtown, and it deserves a higher quality building material. And moving around to Corvette Way for the residential building, it's a similar treatment for Tower G residential building, similar to Tower F before. And again, the use of curvilinear balconies. So realistically, it's a more rectangular building with some angular curves and glazed panel. So this is step coat 3, triple glazed. The balcony serves as sunscreens as well. And
Yeah.
triple glazing is good for thermal properties as well as sound attenuation, because we're right on Sea Island. So perhaps I will leave describing the public realm landscape treatment to our landscape consultant, Daryl. So perhaps Daryl, if you can just quickly talk about the public realm on Block B.
Okay.
And we can move on to Block C.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Daryl Tyke. Just one sec. I'm going to now share my screen here. Just one moment.
Daryl, you're mute.
There we go. Okay. Can everyone see this?
We can see it.
Okay, good. I'll just start at the intersection of Sea Island Way and number 3 Road, where we have the plaza at the office tower. It's envisioned as being this place where you can get a little bit of refuge from the noise at that corner. It's a very busy intersection, and as best as we can, we've tried to provide this, this seating area where people can actually go and have a nice cup of coffee if they want. I think it's envisioned there's going to be perhaps a coffee shop on the corner. As you wrap around the edge along number 3 road, the paving pattern that we've established on lots B, C, and starting with lot A is based on an aerial view of the agricultural plots around Richmond, where there's this sort of overlaying series of rectangular little plots, and they don't always line up really beautifully. There's some overlap and what have you, and that's being on lot A, where it's already installed, is a series of clay pavers in different finishes. So we get a differentiation in the paving areas. That said, so that's the land, and then these islands, if you will, that interrupt it all of planting and trees as we go along number 3 road. Making our way to the community center, which Wing spoke pretty well about in describing what's going on there. I should note that on the model, it was showing our current paving pattern. That is being coordinated with the interior designers, and so that finished material hasn't been totally settled on yet. But we do have a stage at the intersection corner of the plaza, whereby there could be buskers, there could be lunch hour exercise groups. You name it. A significant portion of that plaza is actually undercover, so they could be used for winter, like boot camps, what have you. Then moving along McMinn, along the front of the community center, we begin a series of nodes and areas of pause where we can have groups meet. There's seating opportunities for singular people, groups, and that makes its way to the corner where McMinn and Corvette Way come together. There's a small pocket park, in the corner, and that is separated from the residential units at grade by both a height separation and a substantial planting. So that's pretty much the ground plane. Off-site, around the edges of the site, it's quite an urban treatment. We're proposing soil cells and structural soil where needed to get soil volumes so that trees will flourish. And that's pretty much it. We're trying to maintain if not a native palette, then at least one that's native, adaptive, and is suggestive of the flora that you might see along the river. And that's the public realm on Lot B. If I can just quickly pop up to the podium.
Yeah, I think so. And I was actually thinking that maybe we'll deal with any questions on this parcel before we move on to the other one.
Okay. 1 second. Is that showing up?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Wing's model actually did a fairly good job of representing what we're proposing for the landscape. The podium level is actually acting as a kind of a weight to hold the building down. So we have in places up to 4 feet of soil, offsetting that. Some places we have thin, less soil, but buildup of concrete. So in a lot of these areas, we're able to have substantial trees growing. We have lots of soil depth all around the edge to give us a nice screening and sheltering from the, excuse me, from Sea Island Way and number 3 Road, with the view out to the bridge out across the lawn that serves as a communal area for the 2 residential towers. This whole area is for the towers, with the area above the community center. We're up there, we're quite restricted on our weight loading. So it's lawn, it's isolated plantings that are going to be a little larger, but on the whole, it's fairly open. Our urban ag is up there in the sunniest location. And then the children's play actually takes advantage of the 2-level nature of the podium. Most of the podium at level 4, and then the community center roof at level 5. So we have a good full story grade transition between the 2 areas, making that accessible. We have this large and long meandering walkway that takes us to several nodes. The office tower has its own set of decks, and then separating the 2 areas is a bit of a grade change and heavy planting and a water feature outside the office tower. There's also a small water feature adjacent to the kids' play. It's very shallow, and there is a wall around here to keep kids from actually running into it. It'll have small bubblers, just enough to create a bit of noise. That's pretty much it. The sides of the community roof, or the community center roof, off to the sides, we have quite a bit of soil depth, so we can get substantial planting to screen those adjacent residential units from the common area. So that's the podium roof.
Okay. Why don't we just pause the presentation and see if there are any questions from the panel on, I think this is parcel B. And then we'll go over, I'm assuming that, Wing, you're going to want to present the 3rd parcel.
So I have 2 questions. One has to do with lighting. Are there any lighting either on the podium level or on the plaza level that would be too bright for light pollution, for one? And the second question, it might be more to staff. There has not been any discussion on rental housing or affordable housing on this site. Was it provided in the previous stage already?
I'll tackle the affordable question first, perhaps, and then let the project team address the lighting. In terms of affordable housing, there are actually 22 affordable housing units on this subject property, Lot B. The developer did oversupply affordable housing in the first phase, so the 22 provided on this does meet the entire requirements of their zone.
Okay, and what was the other question, Cecilia?
Lighting, light pollution.
Lighting. Sounds like Daryl or Wing.
Well, I can answer to the landscape lighting. There's nothing on poles. It's all either bollards or step lights. We do have some, I believe, strip LED lighting underneath sort of the leading edge of, say, benches or where we might have a large stair. I'm thinking more along McMinn, where we have the public, these little nodes. They're anticipated to have strip lighting underneath just to identify them and give a little bit of ambiance, but nothing to create light pollution.
We understand the city's concern about light pollution. There are no exterior balcony lights. Similar to Lot A, there are no exterior balcony lights. And on the ground plane, we anticipate lights on the ground plane at around the plaza area. And that is also being illuminated by the commercial stores that fronts onto number 3 road and wraps around Wynn. But that would be all the exterior lights that we will have.
Okay.
Thanks.
Milton, do you have anything you want to fire away, or do you want to wait?
Just had a question on the just how it interfaces with Lot A. Is the parking entrance for Lot A off of McMinn as well, or is that off of somewhere else?
Entrance off of Lot A, there are two. One is off of McMinn, but it's offset, and the separation is sufficient. I think it's 80 feet between the two. And then there's another entrance on Lot A from Corvette Way for the parking there. So there are two entrances and exits for Lot A, but for Lot B, there is only one, because realistically, we can't have access off of Sea Island nor number 3 road. And Corvette Way is rather short, and given the abrupt entrance off of Sea Island turning into a Corvette Way, it was deemed that it's best that we keep all the parking entrances only off of McMinn. So if you look at the parking entrances, actually on McMinn is more biased to the west side. So it's offset from the entrance to parking for Lot A by 80 feet. You will see on McMinn also there are laybys, and that's to facilitate drop off and pickup of patrons to the community center.
Okay. Perhaps also note that we have a right turn out onto Sea Island Way from Corvette Way with respect to vehicular traffic. So that will relieve the congestion in this area also for the neighbors. So you can turn right out from Corvette Way right onto Sea Island Way, which was not possible before.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No questions for me, but I do want to say the presentation I thought was great. I mean, you know, gave me a good feel for the project. So feel free to head to, what is it, Lot C?
Okay. We'll try Lot C. So we'll go through with the model photos and then the video and then the site plan again. So this is an aerial view. Corvette Way is at the bottom of the page, and on your left is Capstan Way. And then on the right corner is the turning into River Road. For Lot C, River Road will be blocked off and closed between Capstan and the turn of Corvette Way. So this is a second photo as seen from the future Dyke Park. You can see in the foreground the lookout tower that is visible from number 3 road and Capstan Way. In the foreground would be the pier, and then the paddle boat and rowboat and kayak boat launches. And then on the far left, you will also see the lookout pier that stretches out onto the Fraser River. And this is a view from the future Dyke Park and how the building interfaces with the Dyke Park. There are two buildings. One we call on your right would be the south building, and on the left would be the north building. And it takes on a curvilinear form, but also has a bit of a nautical theme with portholes and stepping and swooping, and the cantilevering balconies on the north side. There's more like the prow of a ship, And then linking the two buildings is a sky bridge, which is the amenity area and an indoor swimming pool, which wrapping around, you will see that that is over the entrance court. This is another view from looking south along the future Dyke Park. The building in front is a north building. By the virtue of the triangular shape of the building form, that drives the floor plate, and the treatment of the spandrel panels and the balconies has more of a wavy, curvilinear, wavy nautical feel.
Wing, before you move on, I know that maybe you don't do landscape, but is that a retaining, the white wall, is that a retaining wall? What is that? Or ramp or?
No, this is from the model, it would be transitions. We do raise the dike
Yes.
on our side, and this is essentially the adjacent side. It wasn't modeled, but it will, obviously there will be a transition. It won't be a...
So I'm assuming that this one is built to our current dike standard.
Yes.
And you're finishing the park. So you're not actually going to have a, you know, this is a public park and it needs to read that way, right?
Yes.
If I can jump in for a sec, the north end actually is retained. It's private property on the north, to the north of that wall. The south side transitions down to existing. To get from the Dyke Park down, there is and I'll address that when I present the realm for this.
I'll be interested to know how this will read as public space and how members, the public will feel comfortable using it.
Oh, okay. I can describe that fairly quickly when you go to the site plan. So we rotate around.
We'll get back to that and we'll just move on with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
So rotate. This is a view from Corvette Way. You see the bridge with the amenity and swimming pool would be. There'll be two, the north and south building, and then you see the entrance, Port Cochere Auto Court, and that's the entrance to the parking garage as well. And this is a view from the south looking north. So as you head up the existing River Road, this is the view that you would see heading there. The access to the park, perhaps Stefan, go back to the last photo here. You'll see from on your right side, which would be River Road and Capson Corner, there is a very public path that ramps up at 5% from the corner of Capson and Corvette Way. And there's a pocket park there that leads all the way up to the dike. So it's a very public walkway that goes through adjacent to our site and leads everyone right onto the dike. So it's very public. It's like, it's built almost, it's like the part of the sidewalk. So there are no gates, no fences or anything. It's just a continuation from, if you come in from number 3 Road in Capson, where the pedestrian sidewalk and the bike path, it goes through to this intersection at Corvette and Capston, and it slowly ramps up to 5% to the dike. So right now, one needs to climb onto the dike. This is just a gentle incline to the dike, and as I mentioned earlier, there are no gates. And
yeah, Wing, it wasn't, that end is fine from my perspective. It was the other
south
end.
side, if we go to the south side, where the corner is, sorry, south side. Yeah.
The south side, sorry.
No, north side, sorry.
North side.
My apologies, north side.
Yeah, it's the north side I was curious about.
Yeah. On the north side here, if you look at the site plan, the model is not as clear, but there are steps, there are open steps, there are no fences, there are open steps, as well as a ramp that is beyond the footprint of the building, and it just leads right up to the dike.
Why don't we look at the site plan?
Okay.
So let's go look at the site plan. Okay. So on the south side, you can see, I'm sorry, Stefan.
Yeah.
Go to the south side you can see the description about the pathway and then the ramp. So there's a bicycle path as well as a pedestrian path. This, the bottom is a bicycle path and the top would be the pedestrian path, sidewalk that goes up to the dike. On the north side there, you will see the ramp.
Okay, yeah.
And then you can also see the steps. Can we see the steps? No, the next plan down.
The steps here.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's right open. There are no gates, and that's at the corner of where Corvette turns into River Road. It was very public. So we bring our dike up to 4.6 meters, or 4.7, I should say. So we increase the height of the dike.
Yeah, I can see why you need the ramps and steps. So people, the public, if they are entering at the north side, do they kind of have to go sort of under a covered area?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they'll, the steps and, yeah, okay.
All of the stair or the ramps are at 5% or less, so we don't have a whole lot
Right.
of handrails. Trying to keep it open as possible.
Yeah,
There's a double height area there, so it's not.
yeah, okay.
It's reasonably open. So perhaps we can go to this ground plane here and you can see on the ground plane the site plan.
You want to go back to the site
Site
plan?
plan. Let's go to the site plan. Site plan. Yeah. So this is the entrance entrance court, and that's where the loading and parking garage entrance and the entrance to the two residential buildings would be. So the two residential entrance lobby flanks this Portland Port Water Court, which is cantilever bridge with a cantilevered bridge with the indoor swimming pool over. And you will see that there's a clear view to the sky between the parking entrance and the bridge, so that the clear height is maintained for environmental services, but also at the same time it gives great opportunity for natural light to stream into the solar port. And there's edge with landscaping, framed with landscaping as well. And so perhaps Daryl, if you can.
You want to see some video?
Yes, maybe. Sorry, the video. We should show the video.
So you can see through the bridge underneath. There's two-story space below from measured from the courtyard. There's the North Tower, South Tower. Okay.
This project is also triple glazed and step 2 coal, low carbon.
So I'm going to stop sharing if that's okay, or?
So I think that will stop our presentation.
Sure. Mhm.
So both buildings are residential on lot C.
Okay. So does that conclude what you guys want to present?
Perhaps Daryl can talk. a
I
little
can
bit about the
quickly
landscape.
just run you through the landscape. There were a few
Sure.
issues that planning wanted us to address specifically during the development process. Okay. This is visible now?
Yes.
Okay, so as Wing was mentioning earlier, the access from the north up to the Dyke Park is indeed underneath the tail end of the building, which is it's kind of nice. It's a portal, if you will. And then also, as discussed, there's a series of ramps and stairs, different ways to get up to the activity areas on the dike. You'll notice that the pathways and the area at the end here are quite large. We had to accommodate a fairly substantial service vehicle and its turnaround, hence the size of the plaza up at the top. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. It lends itself to all sorts of activities. So the planting scheme up at the interface, the buffering with the building, is meant to be evocative of what you would find, like I mentioned earlier, along the river. And it's meant to basically just provide a screen and a transition down to the Dyke Park itself, which will largely be grasses, no trees, and really no shrub material. So it'll be an assortment of native riverside, waterside grasses. Coming down around the north side, or the south side, there's a series of the ground slopes and reveals pretty much a full story of building wall that planning wanted us to help soften. And so we pulled planting from the Dyke Park down along the side to carry that theme through. Wrapping up around Corvette Way, Wayne mentioned the motor court, and that has really as much planting in there and softening as we have space for. There's some planting at the base of the wall to grow up and really soften that back wall of the motor court, and then a couple of islands at the front edge to give a bit of screen and layering to that motor court. Again, here we're carrying through that paving pattern evocative of the agricultural areas, and that's pretty much for the public realm on Lot C. The terrace, or the podium, has just a second. Okay, if that's visible. Did that show up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can see.
As a nice, if you will, barrier to the public coming onto the podium, because the podium at this level is pretty much flush with the park. It's up a little bit because of structural and what have you. Whereas at the Corvette Way side, we're a full story up. There's basically what you could refer to as a moat. We have a water feature that can be enjoyed from both sides of the either the park or the amenity deck, where we have quite a large children's play area, communal barbecue, harvest tables, that kind of thing. And then a gentle walk or slope walkway and deck that overlooks the water feature and excuse me, the park beyond. That's it for the amenity terrace. It's quite simple, relying on sort of borrowed views of the park and the river beyond. There is a green roof over top of the pool area as well. That's the landscape.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see if we've got any questions from the panel. Milton, Cecilia?
No, it's been a thorough presentation. I don't actually have any questions. Thank you.
Yeah. The only concern that I have is that sometimes we provide these really nice public amenity areas, but because of their proximity to private development, they don't read as truly public, and people either aren't aware or aren't comfortable using them. And I'm a little concerned about that north end. I get it at the south end, you've got sort of the full access, but I think that the public will feel a bit reluctant to kind of go through the covered area and take the stairs or the ramp. Daryl, do you have any thoughts about that, or you know, or is there any way to deal with that if we haven't?
It's a tough one. We've tried to create this kind of welcoming, sort of scoop you up and pull you in approach with the curved walls, the seating elements. There'll be lighting on the underside to sort of at least, you know, make it feel like there's nothing nefarious in there. And then through that, you're going to see these stairs that will have lighting. And I think once it's realized with the lighting, the planting, all the planting around there is meant to be evocative of the river. So we're pulling that planting through there, which is going to link over with the McMinn Corner Park. So those will be visible. So there's this linkage that planning was really quite concerned about making.
Okay.
And I think once it's realized, it'll be okay.
And maybe when the lands to the north develop, we'll have, you know, presumably there will be a continuation of that dike upgrade, park upgrade and extension, and it'll be less of an issue.
That's the idea.
Yeah, okay. All right, any other questions for Wing or Daryl or anyone?
Oh, I should mention, I think with the docks and the water activity uses that are being provided for there, that in itself is going to draw a lot of people up there.
Yeah, it might just be the volume, you know, does the trick. Yeah. Okay, let's ask Wayne. We've had pretty thorough presentations, Wayne. So, you know, is there anything you'd like to draw our attention to?
Just a couple items, Mr. Chair. Both buildings have been designed in accordance with the city's aircraft noise policy. Acoustical measures are included to ensure that they achieve the CMHC interior noise standards. With respect to the development, there are significant servicing agreements associated with the project for road improvements around the perimeter of the site, the waterfront park, as well as the dike improvements. One point of clarification I would like to make in terms of the applicant's presentation and the depiction of the waterfront park. All waterborne structures would be the city's responsibility to construct. They are not part of the developer's servicing agreement requirements. The developer did provide a cash contribution as part of rezoning for the city to install piers should we wish, as part of our parks and open space planning. The park design will include footings for those future piers to be installed at the city's discretion.
Okay, and Wayne, that's in agreement with our Parks Department and the understanding at rezoning, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. What about the view structure? That's upland. I'm assuming that's going to be built.
The entire park will be part of the servicing agreement. So
Yeah.
the developer will be responsible for all upland improvements, all waterborne improvements will be
Yeah.
responsibility of the
And the plantings are constrained by the requirements of the dike, is that right? That's why we're not going to town with trees.
In terms of
Okay.
trees, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, any questions for Wayne? All right, so that brings us to public comments. Now, we did have someone in attendance for this one. Is that right, Wayne?
Yes, I mean, I believe
or-
Mr. Donald Duncan.
Donald
is
Duncan,
on-
I see a Donald Duncan, yeah. Okay, Mr. Duncan, do you have video? Are you able to turn on your video?
I
Hello?
am, however,
there you go.
Oh,
I believe that I don't have any comments on this current project. I am here in relation to another proposal.
sorry, Mr. Chair, I
Mr.
was misspoken.
Chair.
It was David Dennis.
Oh, there. Okay. No problem. We're working our way through this. It doesn't always go smooth. Okay, I can see Mr. Dennis. He's got his video up. So, Mr. Dennis, please just tell us well, we've got your name, your address for the record, and then any comments that you'd like to make.
Yes, 8191 River Road. I live at Richmond Marina,
Right.
which is just north of this project. A couple things I'd like to establish. One is, when's the commencement date of this construction?
Okay. Well, let's get all your questions down.
Okay, I've
and
got a
then
list.
we'll have the appropriate. I'll have the appropriate person respond.
Okay, so one is the commencement date. The second is the construction. That's at the east shoreline of the Fraser.
Mhm.
How are they going to improve the density of the land? Because there'll be a lot of water table there.
Okay. Okay, is that the extent of it?
No, parking is a big issue for me. There's street parking on River Road. I want to know
Yeah.
what's going to occur to that parking. Right now, because of all the construction going on, we as residents in the area have difficulty and are completely inconvenienced on parking, because workers from the various job sites, the construction job sites, are occupying the parking.
Right. What parking do you actually use?
River Road, north
Okay,
of Capstan.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
I've
so
lived
it's
here
public
for
parking.
22 years.
Yeah.
I don't want to experience what I've been experiencing the last few years. Parking,
Okay.
driving over terrible roads. And I want privacy. We've had privacy, and this lot C, the construction at the north end, I'm concerned about intrusion from public. It's private land.
Okay.
And I need to know what provisions be made there to keep it private.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, yes, in conjunction with the water table, the shoreline construction, I understand the construction hours are from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if they have to put drive logs in there with a power driver to improve the density of the construction site, I don't want them banging on that at 7 a.m.
Well, we'll have the architect address that, how they're going to do the site preparation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I've got.
And I'm assuming they have all riparian rights that have been awarded by the province, or am I wrong?
We'll get staff to comment on that.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I do want you to understand, sir, that the role of the panel, where we are here to review design aspects. So we're not able to undo the zoning, the rezoning that council has already approved. So we're not able to, for instance, say,
I'm glad you
well,
clarified
you
that.
can't build, but certainly we can look at, you know, what the heights and overlook and, you know, privacy issues, for instance, would be. So what I'm going to do is thank you for your comments and questions. Wayne, if you can help me out here, we'll deal with, well, let's just go through them. Wing, are you there? Is the architect there?
Yes.
So the first question was around commencement date. What do you anticipate? What is planned?
If we get a development permit approved, then we will be in a position to finish the construction working drawings and submit for building permit application. And the building permit application approval is dependent upon the timeline and completeness of our application package. So I would anticipate probably 6 months.
Okay, so it'd be the latter part of 2021 before you got your building permit in place.
Correct.
What about site preparation, Wing?
Our proposal is for 3 levels of underground parking. So the engineering technicality is that we will not need to preload when we excavate. The weight of the soil that has been removed will be equivalent to the weight of the buildings that are put on top.
Okay, so I was actually, what I was asking about was, would you be starting site prep before you start construct, before you have a building permit and start construction?
We can, I suppose, that's hasn't been determined yet. I need to seek instructions from the owner. But usually if we are able to secure a development permit, then we can possibly start with the site prep in terms of putting a dense soil mix wall. So it's a DSM wall that will go down 25 meters. And so what it will do is it will contain the groundwater within our site so that we will, when we excavate, we will not draw down on the water table for the neighboring sites. So it will be like a bathtub, if you will. So that is one way that we can.
So there may be some site preparation work starting before, within the 6-month period. Is that correct?
Possibly, but we need to finish a design of the DSM wall.
Okay. Yeah, so you're a little way away. I'm just trying to get you know, something kind of nailed down a little bit for Mr. Dennis here.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about? You've already talked about it a little bit about preparation of the site.
Mm-hmm.
So preload, piling. Is there any piling proposed?
There will be no stone columns. There will be no preload because we are excavating 3 levels underground parking. So as I mentioned earlier, the weight of the soil that has been removed is equivalent to the weight of the future buildings. So
yeah,
the settlement is like, we're tricky.
Okay, so the columns and the piling often result in noise, but you're not anticipating that?
Well, there will be noise and machinery for the DSM wall, but it will not be, it is not as if we're driving piles, sheet piles, or we're not doing stone columns. Right?
Yeah, okay. And I think the rest, Wayne, if you can help me out here, maybe you can tackle these. Are you aware of construction hours off the top of your head?
Construction hours are regulated by the city's noise bylaw. The requirements are, Mr. Dennis was provided with this information earlier today, so I believe the.
Okay, so if we need to, we can do it again.
Well, the Monday to Friday, or Monday through Saturday is 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sundays and statutory holidays is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah. And parking, obviously in this neighborhood, parking is a bit of an issue. It may actually be improved with the new roads, but in the interim, what's going to be required in terms of a construction and parking plan for this development?
As part of the building permit approval process, they will be required to provide a construction, parking, and management plan. That plan must deal with employee parking in terms of the construction workers. It must also deal with the deliveries related to the construction activity.
Yeah, and presumably the transportation folks in reviewing that plan will have take into consideration existing folks in the neighborhood. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. And then there was reference to riparian. I think you mentioned that the city will be responsible for works beyond that aren't on the upland. Is that correct?
All construction within the of the dike and the park will be subject to all required environmental approvals prior to construction.
Yeah, but that's fairly typical, right? This isn't the first time we've done one of these.
Correct.
Okay. And privacy, I don't know who wants to tackle it. Obviously, that you're going to have some mid-rise buildings, you know, so it's not going to be the way it has been in the past. But Daryl, you want to tackle that one? Oh, you're muted. You'll have to unmute.
Thank you. There was I think part of that question was around security as well.
Okay.
And there, because the north end of the dike will be held up with a wall until the north end of the dike is extended.
Right.
We have a wall there, and there will be a guardrail on top of that, so people can't easily make it from one side to the other.
Oh, in terms of people moving from the park to the project to the north.
Yeah.
Yeah. And does anyone want to tackle overlook? I think that was raised as part of privacy.
I think we're kind of limited in what we can do because we can't put any trees, anything with any, in terms of landscaping anyway, along there. Perhaps there's some sort of some hoarding type of thing in addition to the guard.
Wayne, in terms of separation from neighboring property and between towers, etc., we have some minimum separation standards that help with privacy. Does this project meet those?
Yes, Mr. Chair, all of the tower separation requirements are met within the property and two adjacent sites.
Okay. All right. So that's the end of the list that I had. So, you know, I hope that at least gives you some of the information that you're looking for, Mr. Dennis.
It does. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else that would like to comment on this project? It's kind of hard to tell. There's all these names here, but I'm not sure who everyone is. I'll take that as a no. Wayne, was there any written material on this one?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we did receive one letter from Radim Andrzejewicz. No stated address, although indicates he's a resident of the area. The letter cites concerns related to the project density, which, as discussed, are outside the purview of the panel. Traffic generated and traffic congestion. As indicated, while concurrent with this development, there will be significant road improvements which will improve the transportation situation in the neighborhood. The last item noted in the letter is regarding the community center, and the original delivery date, which was specified as 2021. As the panel may be aware, that delivery date was revised by council last year.
Right, so that's really beyond the purview of the council, of the panel.
That is correct.
Okay, terrific. So it brings us to panel deliberation. We've got a positive staff recommendation. If there's a mover and a seconder. Moved, seconded. Okay. So comments. I'm happy to start with the comments. I think clearly it's a well thought out and detailed project, and I appreciated the presentations. I know that it is consistent with what was anticipated at zoning. So although I know that there may be folks that perhaps would prefer that there not be redevelopment or this type of redevelopment, but this project is consistent with the zoning approved by council and the official community plan. So I think it's a very well laid out and designed project. I'm really quite excited about the community center. I think, I guess it's the second one, and I know Mr. Leung's been involved with the first, but I think this really takes it to another level. And I really like the presence of the community center there on the street and in the development. So I just like to, I'm going to support the recommendation from staff, but I'd also just like to say thanks to all the staff. I can see Suzanne's there, and she's put a lot of work into this over the years. And also, at the developer end and the design team. Thanks to all.
Yeah, I like to echo that. Plus the fact that it's nice to see this corner, the entrance to the city being completed. The wall center started it. This will be a very good addition to that. The public realm is quite well thought over. And so I'm really excited to see how this will animate that corner of the city with all the developments coming in.
Yeah.
I would echo those comments as well. And I just appreciate the detail that was taken on the little architectural details just to break up some of the larger elements, like for example, the waves and on the Sea Island Way and so on. And I'm in favor of it as well.
Okay, on that note, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? So it's carried. Thanks very much for your project. It's really well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
And Wayne, we're good to go?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I believe we have.
All right, we're going to soldier on. So the next item on the agenda is also a development permit, 18-828-900, numbered company. Property location is a variety of lots in the 10700 block of Bridgeport and Shell Road. And the development permit is for 19 townhouses. And there are some variances, so I'll just quickly mention those. I think the first is just a standard lot width reduction. The second variance is reduced front yard setback, 6 to 3.3 meters, but I think it's probably not as bad as it sounds because we've got some road take there. And the third variance is the exterior side yard setback to Shell from 6 meters to 4.5. So, yeah. Whenever you're ready for the presentation.
Oh, hi.
Get Eric to start that. He's our architect team.
Sure. You can probably go high level, Mr. Law.
Okay. All right, so let me start doing the quick presentation here. This is a townhouse project along the Bridgeport and Shell Road. It's a corner site. As you can see from the site that next to it is the residential townhouse project, existing townhouse. But
right
on the east side, along the railway, there's a railway along the Shell, and then further east is all the industrial and building, big box commercial industrial buildings. And you can see from along the Bridgeport, it's basically you won't see much of the neighbor townhouse because of the fence and the tree behind it. But on the other side, from the Bridgeport, you can clearly see the site from the industrial area. So this is the context where we stand with this.
So you go right up to Shell, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This is the
Okay.
this is the corner side, Bridgeport and Shell along the corner side here. Okay, and this is because of the industrial context or the box, big box. So the design of this townhouse will be different from the one that we did on the Williams Road. This is more on the modern looking layout. The access of the site is basically limited from the Shell Road because of the BC intersection of Bridgeport and Shell. So we are only allowed to do access from the Shell away from the intersection. That's why we got the main road, access road from the south into the site. And within the site, there are, we make it 4 blocks of buildings, 1, 2, 3, 4. And because of the south neighbor and this neighbor townhouse, we make this the south side, the block only 2-story high, and also to keep the main mature trees along on the south side. On the north and northern side of the site, basically we make it all 3-story high to in reaction to the more busy intersection of the road. And we did ask for, this is the elevation of along the Shell Road. As you can see, it's a more, the design of the building is basically more on the contemporary approach with hardy panel, review, and breaks, interfacing some of the bigger panel design so that it is more reflect with the industrial building across the Shell Road. And this is the one look from the Bridgeport that we do have some breaks on the bottom side, but with also more contemporary hardy panel approach on the top. And to make it more contemporary, we are proposing this mono pitch roof sloping one or the other way, so that you got a zigzag type of roof line. It makes the building much more interesting. And this is along the Shell. This is a Bridgeport Road. This is along the Shell. This is along the Bridgeport. And this is some of the image along Shell. This along Bridgeport, and you can see that we are proposing a mix of brick, hardy panel with different colors and panels to make it more contemporary look in response to the BC Road intersection. And with regard to the setback or the setback relaxation, basically, originally we call it big site along, you can see the hatch area that we are going to do a road dedication giving to the city so that they can widen the road along Bridgeport, as well as to widen the road along the Shell Road. That's why we have to reduce the setback slightly. The northern setback is basically to align, almost like to align the existing townhouse on the north side. And on the Shell Road, we're proposing, instead of 6 meters, we're proposing to have at least a 4.5 meter setback along Shell. That's why you got we have to ask for the relaxation of that the setback requirement for this project. And the access to the townhouse is basically for the front, for this part fronting the Shell, we have individual access directly from the Shell, and for that part on the west side, we have a walkway to give direct access to the townhouse of this block, and also to the amenity area. And Donald, our landscape architect, will talk about the landscape detail of this amenity space. For this project, basically, we have also we don't have any rental unit, but we provide 2 lock-off unit along these 2 corners, so that in case that the owner wants to rent it out, they have an opportunity to rent out the 2 lock-off units on the ground level. And this is the south portion of the site. We are going to keep. There are a lot of mature trees along on the south side, and what we are proposing is to remove setback quite a bit of this building, so that we provide a tree protection along this line to keep all those trees along the south side, and give the privacy to the south neighbor of this area at the same time. So this is the second floor. Basically, the ground floor, as you can see, most of the ground floor is parking, and this is 2-story with a living area on the ground level. And the second floor is mainly living space and dining area, and the third level is bedrooms. And you can see the south portion is basically only 2-story high, and that's why it's lower with just a roof here. In terms of the landscape, I will ask our landscape architect, Donald, to do a rough presentation of this landscape design.
Thank you very much, Eric. Ladies and gentlemen of the panel, Donald Duncan again. I apologize for the lack of video. I seem to be having a technical issue there. However, as far as the landscape goes, a great many things are true here that were true in the previous project. In terms of the exterior treatment, of course, once again, we're working on developing a good separation between the public realm and the private realm, and defining private gardens. In terms of the amenity space, we actually have some additional advantages on this project, because the adjacent piece of driveway is really only required as a turnaround for larger vehicles. We had an opportunity to extend our private plaza space out into that. So in this corner of or I should say in the center of the project, we have, can you zoom in just a little bit there, Eric? Is that?
Sure.
Be grand, thank you. So what you can see there is we have a little plaza which contains a pervious paving area. We have adjacent visitor parking, which at least in theory should be empty most of the time. And then we have a little plaza with some bike parking, a bench, and of course the community mailboxes. This provides a goodly sized area for community use, which should be nice and safe and out of the way. In this case, we actually are recessing the playground down below the adjacent community plaza. This has a couple of advantages. First of all, it reduces the wall height and fence height with respect to the adjacent development. It also nicely corrals the kids, allowing the parents sitting on the provided benches to overlook them and hopefully not lose track of them as they careen around. On the north, you'll note that the public plaza is bounded by a little pergola or arbor, which provides a separation between the, shall we say, public or community space and the walkway, which accesses the various private gardens to the units to the north. The walkway, of course, as we've mentioned, is pervious. And what we've also done here is just to the west of that, once again, the landscape slopes down subtly from the walkway to the property line. We've done this to reduce the height of fence and retention necessary at a property line, reducing the impact on the adjacent existing residences. The other features adjacent or across from the public plaza, we have all of our recycling and garbage nicely stowed away where it's nicely accessible, but nobody really has to look at it. And that is, and then at the north end of the drive-out, I should mention, because we will have vehicles traveling directly towards Shell. What you can't see here, but what I can show you could show in the planting plan is that we have thick plantings which will intercept car headlights, so that we won't be dazzling drivers on Shell as people. Thank you very much, Eric. As people are driving along Shell, they won't have to deal with the car headlights. I think one sheet up is what we need. These LAs, they have such confusing. There we go. They have such confusing drawing sets. So yes, so there we go. As you can see, heavy plantings at the north end of the drive aisle, which should provide a good impervious barrier. So excellent. There we go. That's the Cook's tour.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we'll ask Mr. Craig if he has any comments, and then we'll deal with any questions.
Just a couple quick comments, Mr. Chair. The 3 variances associated with this project were all identified at the rezoning stage and no concerns were noted. In terms of the setback variances to both Bridgeport and Shell, those are a function primarily of the significant road dedication being provided off each road. We did receive an acoustical report assessing not only aircraft noise, but traffic noise, and confirming that the residential units will achieve CMHC internal road standards.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because it's a pretty busy site. Did I hear somewhere that even with the variance to setback, the setback is actually the same as for the existing townhouses to the west, I think? Is it west or east? I'm not sure. I've lost my bearings.
Yes, that is correct. The setback to Bridgeport Road will be consistent with the setback of the adjacent existing townhouse.
Yeah, so it's sort of on paper, but out in the field, it's going to read much the same.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Does the panel, okay, we can probably take down the share screen. There we go. Okay. Any questions from the panel for the applicant or staff?
Just a quick question. There are a series of trees that are being retained just, I guess, south of the property. And I think like the previous project, you have done something at the grade level to make sure that you don't disturb the trees.
This is a slightly different situation. The design of the buildings provides for a stairway going down an exposed basement. So we actually will be at grade where our lot is meeting with those trees. So aside from the usual protections against intrusion during construction, I do not anticipate that there should be any particular issues. We are, of course, proposing a fence along the property line, but once again, that will be installed with due consideration to existing routes.
Thank you.
Okay, terrific. I don't see any public, but I'm going to ask, is there anyone here that wants to speak on this project? Nope. Wayne or Rustico or Matt, anything written?
No recent correspondence, Mr. Chair.
No, nothing?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so there's a positive staff recommendation if someone would like to move it. Need a mover and a seconder. We've got both. Call the question. All those in favour? All those in favour? Opposed? It's carried. We almost lost this one because Cecilia wasn't going to vote for it. Okay, you're done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
very
take
much.
care, guys.
Yeah, bye.
And Wayne, anything new business? Nothing? Oh, do we have a meeting on the 28th?
Yes, we do, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anyone want to adjourn?
Move.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.